All right. Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and weed enthusiasts. Welcome back. So, today we're going to be talking about a little piece of news that has come out that has been brought to my attention by none other than the local weed man himself, Elijah Bowman. Thank you very much for this piece of news, Elijah. I've decided to make a video on it. So, it's come out from the Washington Post that Uber Eats will now team up with different suppliers to deliver cannabis in Toronto. So, this sounds at first, depending on what side you're on, pretty good or pretty bad. Now, I'm basically here to go over both the sides, not just one or the other, but also talk about how this inadvertently, in my eyes, leads back to the dark dimension. The dimension I just can't seem to get away from, because every day I sink further and further into it, with all the bad news coming out here and there. But anyway, let's go into the good. Obviously, this is a convenience. Delivering anything to your home is the new era of the now. It's the future. Back in the day, you had to go to the store to get things. You had to use your legs, or if you were affluent enough, your car. Now, because of Amazon, and now because of Uber, you can have anything delivered. And if you have social anxiety, like I do, you don't even have to talk with anyone now. You can legit just have it brought to your home. So, on the convenience side of things, it's a pretty good thing. Now, obviously, it's bad if you don't like weed. Now, anyone who's 19 and older can place the order. Now, I'm pretty sure Uber will have a way to verify that with ID. And they also say that when delivering it, that the person delivering it will be a government certified employee who will also not only verify your age, but your sobriety, which, you know, if you want to buy weed and you need to be sober to buy it when the guy gets there, I mean, how are you not going to be sober if you're buying weed? You don't have the weed on you already. But anyway, if you don't like weed, obviously, then this is kind of sucky, you know. You don't like people getting weed, and this is just easier now. The country is going through a major shift, you know. Weed used to be illegal. As they said in Peacemaker, you know, a couple years ago, someone would have been shot in the head for having some weed. Now, it's way more accepted. I mean, over time, it's been accepted. I remember back in the day, weed used to be this thing that everyone argued, oh, there's nothing bad about it. You know, it has no negative effects. People are just really scared of it. And, you know, it comes out now that it has negative effects. Everything has negative effects when done in excess or just in general, depending on what it is. But anyway, this negative effect, I'm going to say now, is kind of where we go into the dark dimension of things. So overall, probably to the common populace, right? Because I would say some older people, mostly younger people, consume weed, right? This is a big win. This is a big win for them. People are lazy, right? They could just get weed delivered now. They don't even have to do it. And if it's through the convenience of Uber Eats, that makes it way more broad in its scope of people who are going to use it, right? Almost everyone knows what Uber Eats is. A lot of people use it. And now that you could get weed on it, this might actually attract more people who don't really use weed or haven't used weed to actually use it more or try it because it's on Uber Eats now. Just because it's so accessible. So again, depending on what side of the weed argument you're on, this could be either a good or bad thing. I think for most of us, being a fellow young person myself, it's mostly good. So how do we get into the dark dimension with this? This is where we go beyond this specific thing and what it means just for society in general. There are societal trends that have been happening, and this is just one of them that's shown with Uber Eats and just in general. But basically, right, it has to do with the fact that you can get everything delivered now. Before, back in the day, if you were socially anxious, you just had to get over it. And that comes with its own good and bads on its own. But overall, you know, you kind of just had to get over it. And for a lot of people, not even just get over it, just face it. A lot of people facing it was enough to get over it. Obviously, some that did more harm than good. But I would say that's the minority. For the majority of people, facing their fears actually leads to them conquering it for the most part. So now when we don't have to face our socially anxious fears anymore, when we could just take the easy way out, not even have to talk with anyone, not even have to go to a dispensary to get weed or, you know, do some illegal deal in the street, it makes our social relations, which are already, in my opinion, breaking down in society, even worse. I'll always bring this up, how I think it was London or Britain, I don't remember the difference because I'm American and it doesn't really matter to me, I joke. But they're going through not a pandemic, an epidemic, I believe, of loneliness. Now, granted, it's mainly with old people because young people still have technology, but old people are becoming more and more lonely. Older people, not just, 60s, 70s, but older people are becoming more lonely. And I feel like in society in general, not only has anxiety gone up, social anxiety has gone up, loneliness has gone up too. Despite always being connected to the internet, having more and more better connection, wider coverage, Verizon, fuck you, Verizon, we feel more and more lonely because we're not connecting in meaningful ways. And this is just another thing to kind of reinforce that. So that's kind of where the dark dimension sets in here. This is something that on the surface level and in a lot of ways is good, but it has some bads with it. But the bads, in my opinion, are really fucking bad. It's like, how do you combat this? You don't combat this bad. This bad is something people want, but it's what they want at their own detriment. Yeah, it's good for the short term, but I think it's bad for the long term, but it won't change because it's convenience and people value convenience. So, this goes into the larger argument of just how society is in general. Remember I said we're more disconnected? So, in the dark dimension we're in now, right? When I was younger, we were sort of in this transitory period where, people would play games. There would be a lot of kids who play games, and their parents would not like that because, one, maybe their parents were jealous. Probably not, but maybe. But mostly because their parents never knew that. Their parents always, when they wanted to do something or waste time when they were a kid, they would go outside, make friendships, which helped them probably later on in life. But when we're kids now, we just stay inside and play video games. Granted, we might make new friendships there, but it's different sort of friendships. It's a different level of connectedness. Like I said, I think it's a little worse, but it goes into this idea of, I actually thought about this, right? What is one way that our generation can combat it? I honestly don't know. Because the main answer that the previous generation would do would be taking it away and forcing you to go outside. Now, there's a big issue with this. This is kind of unrelated to the weed. At this point, this kind of splits into another argument, but I'll include it here because why not? I don't think it could be its own video, but maybe it can. But I'll include it here. So, a lot of the time, parents would just force their kids to go outside, be like, okay, you know what? We're taking the games away. We're taking whatever you're doing away inside. Now you have to go outside. And back in the day, that might have worked at a certain time, but I feel like it doesn't work anymore because as a whole, as a majority, society has shifted now to the majority of people doing all the stuff that lets them be inside, like ordering weed on Uber Eats, like playing games or going on the internet whenever they have nothing to do. And that usually is by themselves. It can be with other people, but more often than not, it's by yourself. When you went outside, more often than not, you want to do something with someone else because what can you really do by yourself that's fun outside versus on the internet? So back in the day, it might have worked because the majority of society would be outside. It would only be the nerds, which I used to be, and I guess I still am, that would only really stay inside and play games with the other nerds, but we were the minority. So now, again, it doesn't work because if a parent forces their kid to go outside, now they're the minority, they're not really going to find anyone else outside that's playing because everyone else is going to be inside. So at that point, the parent is doing more harm than good, I would say, because now they're forcing their child into something they don't want to do that won't even help them. And then there's nothing there really for them. They could get lucky and they could find the minority of people who still do go outside. But I think, again, like a society, we are changing more to be inside, which, things like Uber Eats delivering almost everything and Amazon delivering almost everything are reinforcing, and it's not good. My generation, and God help the generation after us, is becoming more and more just socially fucked. Let's just put it nicely like that. We're actually, in a sense, in a society where now we actually can, if we had enough money. Money is the main, I think, driving force here, and obviously emotions. Who knows what being isolated and alone inside does to a person? Well, I kind of know. But aside from that stuff, right, you can actually live a whole life inside. You can get almost everything you need delivered to you now. Back in the day, this was unheard of. You wanted food, go to the supermarket. Oh, now you want food? Get it delivered with Amazon Fresh. Oh, you want weed? Go talk to a drug dealer or go get it from a dispensary now. Oh, or even, well, not now, like previously, a year or two back. Now you want weed? Get it delivered to your home. It almost reminds me comically of like the mail order brides. Oh, you want a woman? Just order one from Russia. It'll be right at your door. Now, obviously, this is a little on the edge, and this is me thinking kind of negatively, but from what I've seen from the Dark Dimension with everything getting worse in every area, or most areas, I don't have too much hope. I don't have too much hope that this is going to be good. Obviously, there is good in it, but I think there's more bad than good, and the bad outweighs the good here. Overall, it just reinforces our society becoming more isolated, and that's not good because humans are social creatures. But anyway, that was just kind of a thought of, this piece of news I saw and how I want to relate it to the Dark Dimension, because everything now is relating to the Dark Dimension. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. If you want me to talk about anything or think about anything critically, please tell me in the comments below. I'm down to talk about anything. And also, I stream every day at twitch.tv/Tecnics channel. Come hang out. Come talk to me. Come watch me play games. Come watch me be sad. Anyway, hope you enjoyed.